This module of Inventor will include instruction on how to create a sweep, which is another complex object or part that's created very simply. So we'll start by moving our cursor to the upper left portion of the screen. We'll left click on New. The Create New File dialog box will appear. We'll left click on Standard, Inventor Part. We'll left click on Create. We'll left click on Start 2D Sketch. Move our cursor to the XY plane. And we're going to start again with another rectangle. We're going to have it laying on its side this time. We'll move the cursor to the rectangle command, left click once, move our cursor to the origin, wait for the green dot, we'll left click one time, and we'll create a rectangle that looks similar to what is shown. And then we'll right click, left click on OK. Then we'll left click on dimension, and we'll dimension the side to 0.5. And we'll left click on the top line and we'll dimension it to 1. Then we'll right click, left click on OK, right click again, finish sketch, and we'll scoot it over here a little bit. Then we'll drop down this little plus sign next to origin and the default planes will appear again. So we'll move our cursor over the XZ or the YZ plane, and for creating a loft, that one is not going to work. The XZ plane, and that one's not going to work. The XY plane is going to work. So we're going to move our cursor up here to the plane command. We'll left click on plane, and we'll left click on the XY plane in the tree. Left click one time. Then we'll move our cursor onto the plane itself, and right in the middle we'll just left click and drag it out, and you'll see the distance that this plane is being pulled from the original plane, and we'll enter a 1. And if we use the rotate command, you'll be able to see that we have a work plane that's just kind of floating out in space above our existing plane. So then we'll right click, left click on OK. So we're going to move our cursor onto this work plane. We'll left click one time, or right click, sorry, left click on New Sketch. And then I'm going to right click and say Previous View. And we'll put a rectangle down in the bottom corner here. So we'll left click on the rectangle command, and we can put a rectangle right on that origin if we'd like. And we'll just drag something that looks kind of like this. Then we'll right click, left click on OK, right click again, finish 2D sketch. And we'll go up to the plane command. We'll move it over the XY plane in the tree again, left click one time. Move our cursor to the plane itself, and we'll drag it out past, and we'll enter a 2. Then we'll left click out in the workspace. Move our cursor over work plane 2. When it becomes highlighted, we right click once, left click on New Sketch. And then I'm going to right click and say Previous View. And we'll move our cursor up to the circle command. We'll left click on circle, and we'll put a circle over here. Doesn't have to be exact. And we'll right click, left click on OK. And now we will loft material between each one of these sketches. So we'll right click, left click on Finish 2D Sketch. We'll move our cursor up to the loft icon, which is right here under Annotate. We'll left click on Loft, and we'll move the Loft dialog box out of the way here. So the first thing I'm going to do is left click on the original sketch, left click on the first sketch that we created afterwards, and left click on the second sketch. And then we'll left click on OK. And so now we have a complex shape that was created very easily by use of the loft command. If we had to use cut or extrude or revolve to create this, that would have been a pretty time-consuming task. And once we zoom it around and admire it, we'll right click, left click on OK. And if we're going to make a presentation somewhere to somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience in 3D CAD, they may not appreciate these work planes in here. So if we move our cursor over to the part tree, work plane 1 appears here, and we can right click on that, and we just left click on visibility. We can't turn it off because then the part will disappear. So we just move our cursor over those two work planes and left click on visibility, and that will make them so that they are still there. They just turn off so that you can't see them. If you try and delete them, the part will disappear. So now we have our completed part that we basically created with 3 sketches. And that concludes this module on use of the loft command.